Hello all, this is Saurabh and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will learn about how to write a well-curated resume. A well-curated resume is a very important part of an interview or a job application that we are applying to. So let's move. For those of you who do not know me, so hi, I'm Saurabh and I'm an ML and AI enthusiast, a recent cloud practitioner. I would be soon joining Microsoft as a cloud solution architect. I'm a community enthusiast and love sharing my experience and knowledge to others. This potentially helps me in learning and growing together. So, what does an effective resume contain? What are the important sections? We'll move bit by bit and understand each of them. So, first comes the summary. A summary is something that is usually referred for people who have great experience or people with more than one page of resume. The summary is really helpful for the recruiter or the interviewer to potentially understand if a particular person or an individual is aligned or a best fit for a job role. So, a summary holds a great impact factor on a resume. Summaries should contain or reflect the relevant and the strong attributes that are very relevant to our job role. The summary must reflect the entire gist of whatever we have or whatever we have as an experience or skill set. Now, summary helps the HR in two ways. First of all, the reducing the time of reading the entire resume, extracting the keywords, understanding if it aligns with the job role or not, and then finally finding the best fit individual for the job role. Second, it gives an entire just idea of whether what is the entire experience of an individual or whether he is a fit for some other job role. Next, we come to the education. This is quite clear. We have a graduation or a post graduation level of education. Just simply mention those with the year of graduation or the expected year of graduation from the current program and along with the grades. The grades are optional. Next comes the work experience. As a fresher or as a full time, we are expected to have some sort of work experience or practical industry exposure. This not only helps the interviewer understand that we are agile and versatile to adapt to some job situation or complete a certain given task, but also gives an idea about our skill sets and the technical domain that we have already worked earlier. Now comes the projects. Similar to the work experiences, also gives an idea about to the interview about the skill sets that we have or the current project that we have undertaken as a team or a personal project. It's highly recommended that the projects should have varied skill set. This potentially attracts the recruiter towards you, as well as having varied set of skill sets can help an individual use the same resume for a variety set of different job roles. Now comes technical skills. The technical skills are very key to resume. The technical skills actually contain the skill sets or the technical domain or the languages, frameworks, platforms that we have experienced or we have learned through our program experiences or projects. So we can easily mention them. Now, leadership and volunteering. This is an optional section that you can mention in your resume. Having leadership and volunteering section is usually recommended for people who are applying for a managerial or a leadership role. Having leadership and volunteering experiences mentioned for such a role literally helps individual reflect his capabilities in managing as well as leading a certain team. You can pretty well put on your community works, the clubs that you have been led, or some team that you have led in a project. Now, what should be the order of the resume? Usually, the resume must be very attractive and lucrative to the HR in order to grab the attention of the HR and make him realize that, yeah, my resume is the best fit. So, we'll need to draft a resume in the basis of higher priority or the top relevance according to the job role would be in the top and gradually lowering down the least relevant things. Now there's a general thing that education must be on the top, and then you move on with the relevance things according to the job role or the things that actually highlights your resume. Now, what is the rule of thumb? So, based upon my experience, I follow a general trend that that this that the education would be the first, the work experience, which is a very important part of a resume, would be the second. Then comes the project, then the technical skills, and finally the achievements and publications. Now you could say, but yeah, I don't have a work experience. What should I do? If you don't have potential work experiences, you can mention projects in the place of that. You can add more 2 to 3 projects. That will be sufficient for a resume. Now, how to draft a resume? Oh my God, this is a difficult task indeed. Let's make that simple. So, first of all, students tend to make a huge paragraph sentence to actually convey a small thing. But do you feel that the HR really has time to understand and read through entire content and get the gist out of it? Rather, it's upon us to mention everything in a crisp and single sentence. Mention those in bullets. Put the points in short and make sure that it conveys the exact message that you want to convey. Now, very important part of it, putting action verbs. Action verbs are very, very, very critical to a resume. It has a great impact on the reader or the viewer of your resume. Give an example. I, Saurabh, worked in a company XYZ as a software developer or application developer, where I developed an application for the e-commerce sale of the company, which potentially attract 1 lakh customers. Here, the action verbs are worked as an intern or an application developer in XYZ company, attracted 1 lakh customers. These are the action verbs that potentially attract the HR's attention towards my work or the potential impact that I have made to the company. Now, following the XYZ format. Now, the XYZ format that we are going to discuss is completely a different thing from the XYZ that I had already discussed with you in the past. So, what is this XYZ? So, this is a sentence format, that is, did X using Y to achieve Z. Now, over here, did X is a doer verb. Achieved or achieve Z is the achiever's achieve verb. What did I achieve? Right? I'll move on to create a number of examples in the later part. Next, very important part of a resume is putting everything in bolds, especially the keywords. Now, what happens is that usually a resume is filtered manually or through a machine where if manually, then a person behind, usually the recruiter, goes through each resume in maybe 2 minutes and actually extracts out the gist of it in terms of keywords that are relevant to the job roles. Now, if I highlight all the keywords in my resume that are actually relevant, will that not attract the recruiter? Yes, it will. So, bolding the letters or the keywords which are actually relevant is very important. Now, a major mistake that students do, including me, is putting technical domain or technical skills into one section and putting everything into it like a khichdi. Do you understand? So, don't you think if I put my technical languages learned, my different technologies that I work, the development platforms, dev tools that I use, the IDE that I use, the cloud platforms I use into a single section that is technology skills or technical skills, does not make the it very difficult for the HR to extract keywords from it from the technical skills subsection? Sorry, and find the relevance of my resume with the job role. Rather, it's highly recommended that you put the technology, the technical skill sets into different subsections, namely technology languages or frameworks. But then you can put all the languages learned, like give an example: Java, C++, Python, Node.js, JavaScript, etc. Frameworks could be Android, Flutter, TensorFlow, etc. You can put databases as a subsection, wherein you can put SQL, NoSQL, MongoDB, Cosmos DB, and different other. You can also mention the platforms or the tools that used. It can include IDs like Visual Studio Code, Android Studio, or platform code repositories like GitHub, GitLab. You can also mention VCS like Git that you used. These are the dev tools. You can, if you have relevant experiences in cloud, you can mention the cloud platforms like Azure, AWS, and GCP, the greater ones, namely. And if you have specialized in certain skill sets, you can also mention them, example, cybersecurity, DevOps, etc. Now, do make sure that you follow these guidelines while drafting a resume. Otherwise, it will be just like the कहावत, जंगल में मोर नाचा पर किसी ने देखा नहीं. Right? You write everything, but none is viewed by the HR. Now, we'll go through some of the examples of action verbs to get a greater insight of it. The first example is eliminated manufacturing cost by 25% through design improvement practices and standardization initiatives company-wide in 2015, received the Best Employment of Month twice. Let's first figure out the action verbs. Eliminated, received the Best Employer. Now, the eliminated is the doer verb. And what is the outcome of it? The achiever verb. That is, receive the Best Employer award twice. Now, do you see how well the sentence is constructed? It has numeric facts like 25 minimized cost up to 25%. This is a great number indeed for a company. This shows how impactful my work is or the value contribution towards the company. And in a given stipulated frame of time, that is in the year 2015. Moving on to the next example, manage 66 suppliers for quality improvement and issue resolution. Lower product returns by 15%, saving 125K dollars per year. Accelerated customer response time. cutting the number of complaints by 50%. This actually reflects a full stack developer or maybe a salesperson's resume extract. So you do see how well it is framed. It contains enormous number of numeric attributes like 66 suppliers, lowered product returns by 15%, saving of $125K, which is a great amount, and response time cutting the number of complaints by 50%. This actually shows how well my work contributed towards the betterment of the company or the value contribution to the company. So it's very relevant for me to use action verbs and numerics in my resume. Now we'll do some resume reviews, but I really had a hard time finding some resumes over the internet. Just put on my previous resume, which I used in my third year, to just identify the mistakes that I had done. It contains a wide sort of mistakes that could be potentially improved. So we'll quickly discuss upon those. First, the education field. The education field seems good to me, but do you see? I have mentioned the joining date, joining year of a particular program course that I was enrolled to, and the year that I was graduated to. This is not actually relevant. Mentioning the year of graduation from a particular program or course that I'm enrolled into is just the thing that the recruiter needs. So just I should mention that much. Next, coming to the skills. The skill set looks good, but I need to make sure first that the skills are actually relevant to the job role that I'm applying to. Second, I must highlight the keywords into bold so that it is it's very easily attracts the interviewer or the recruiter's eye. Next, coming to the work experience and internships, I feel the work internship and experiences are quite long, sentenced, and overwhelming for one to read. It would take a long time for a person to read, but the recruiter has only 2 minutes to then read through the entire resume. So I should make it rather crisp, more bulleted, as well as highlight the keywords when and wherever required. Try to add more numeric facts and numeric numbers or data so as to reflect more upon my potential contribution towards the company as an intern. Next, coming to the projects. I see projects are okay. I have added a link to the live project or maybe the GitHub link if it's available. You can add a GitHub link for machine learning models or Android projects, but make sure try putting live links for projects so that one me as a recruiter can directly move toward to the link and view your project. So I feel the I should mention the skill sets over here. This not only shows reduces the time of the interviewer or the recruiter to find out what skills or technical domains were actually used or learned during the implementation of the project, but also helps having a variety of skill sets in the project section does reflect that I have actually learned and have practical experience of working with those technologies and domains. Next, coming to the awards and recognition, it does looks good to me, but at the same time, I see that I have mentioned the publications and research publications into the same section as awards and recognition. Publications and research works are quite relevant to an undergraduate role. So make sure that you add a different subsection or a different section itself to the as named as publication. Now, very important point that scratched my mind is making my resume 8 days proof. Making my resume 8 days proof is very important part of making a resume, as companies usually have a whole lot ton of resumes during a job opening. Now, how are they verified? There's an application tracking system, which actually is actually a machine that extracts keywords, relevant keywords from the resume, and maps it to the job role. So, in order to make sure that I get selected for a job role, I need to make it 8 days proof so that the machine is able to extract the keywords out of it. We'll learn more about it. Now, we'll try to again compare one more resume that I currently use for myself and try to understand what potential improvements that I can do. Now, I can see that the education in the education I mentioned the joining and the graduation year. It's not actually relevant and not required. You can just mention the year of graduation from a particular program course that I'm enrolled into. Next, the skill sets must be highlighted in bold. The work experiences, I believe I could have made it more numeric and factual so that the interviewer gets attracted towards the potential impact that was caused due to the work that I did in a company. At the same time, I could highlight the keywords in bold so that it can easily attract once the viewers eye. Now on to the projects. I see I have added the links. I have mentioned the projects in detail. I have also mentioned the skill sets. It looks good to me. Now coming to the achievement section. The achievements are good, but again, the publication needs to mention in a different section so that it it shows that I have done some research works and I have a craze for innovation and research. Now, coming to some interview tips. Now, do make sure that the also in the achievements, do make sure if you're mentioning some cloud certifications or something, do make sure that it's relevant to the job role that you're applying to. Now, an interview tip: never exhibit yourself as an expert of something. This will potentially backfire you in an interview. Rather, just portray yourself that you know the sufficient thing that is required to be that is required to accomplish a project or maybe a certain task that was assigned to you. Now, many of us ask, there are here there are whole lot of things. There are multiple templates available in the internet. There are two columnar templates. There are multiple colored templates. Which to follow? Should we just move on with this simple template? So my recommendation to you, if you're applying for a non-campus role, go with a two columnar template with two colors strategy, two colors variation. This actually in an on-campus resume where you have a small number of applications, so it's manually filtered by or screened by a recruiter. So in this way, you can attract recruiters. I just by putting a two columnar resume. While you are applying for an off-campus role, go for a one columnar resume because our resume must be passed through the ATS, and to make sure that the ATS is able to extract the keywords well, one columnar is highly recommended. Now, what's the most important thing before you write your resume? It's job description, and job description. Just make it a point to keep it in your mind that before making a resume, it's very important to go through the job description well, extract the keywords out of it, which are actually required by the job role, and try to rephrase as well or recurate your resume each time that you apply for a new or a different job role based upon the requirements. Now you ask me which resume template should I use. So there is Hershey Bar's resume template that is available on the Overleaf website. Now, Overleaf is a website that is used to create resumes, potential very good resumes. So, using a language known as LaTeX, but you need not learn it. You can just use this template, update the content with my content or your content, okay, and just make the resume out of it. I'll just share the link to the resume template as well as Overly platform in the description. Just check out. Any questions? If yes, then surely I'm available. Let's work together to solve your queries. Reach me out on LinkedIn. Also, feel free to reach me, tweet me on Twitter. I have mentioned my link to my LinkedIn and Twitter in the description. Do feel free to reach me out. Also, do like, share, and subscribe this channel. So, as if you really found this video useful, and do press the bell icon to never miss a video on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much.